and we'll open the floor for questions. But before we do that, I have one question to Professor Ademola. Professor, your topic was about transition toward a low-carbon economy and the challenges faced by the developing countries. What about the responsibilities of the developed countries, which had already had their share in carbon emissions during their stage of being developed? Do you think that do you think that they have a duty toward the developing countries to help them to becoming a carbon neutral or to have the low carbon economy? Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So let's go back to clean development mechanism promoted under Kyoto Protocol. The limited implementation of CDM project in developing countries, particularly several countries or many countries in Africa, is due to weak institutional capacity. And the whole idea of CDM is to help developing country implement projects so that the so-called polluting industry in developed world can buy the carbon credit to offset their emission. And of course, developed country and the private sector donors, they promise access to finance, capacity building, technology transfer. And that's not happened. For example, the promise about, I think that was $100 billion yearly by 2020, as a climate aid to developing countries. They've not fulfilled their promise. So here, what I'm trying to say basically is, or trying to challenge them is to pay attention to support, developing country in terms of access to finance, capacity building, and technology transfer. And what I will say to developing country is to develop their legal framework to facilitate technology transfer from a developed country. I guess that's very crucial to transition to low carbon economy. So with regards to your question, of course, the whole developing country duty to support them in terms of what is needed to transition to a low carbon economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. We can have maybe a couple of questions.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is Manish Kumar, and my question has been snatched by the chair, but still you can answer, Adil, is that infrastructure building and the requirement of it is very high in developing countries, and that is one of the main reasons behind CO2 emission. So how to have a strike the balance? For Darvish, Professor Darvish, it was very nice presentation with the feeling. And I like that you said that only talking will not make difference. You have shown the AI applications, and so my question to you is that how much help the AI needs from the human intelligence, or say common sense? Whether AI needs our help or we need AI help, or whether we have to come to the stewardship and say that we will take care of the earth. So that was the, I want to have a take of yours on that. Ma'am, the soil is one of the really good component, and I am happy to see the results that you have shown. What is your take on land reclamation, and how soil can be part of circular economy, not the economy? Because mainly the lands are being so, the big for the economy. And Professor Dami, actually I wanted to stop questioning from there until then, but I have a question for you that we didn't see correlation between what you found as in a ground truthing and the remote sensing, the prediction. So either I missed it or there was not that information. So I will have that information from you. Thank you very much. It was very nice session. Thank you.
I didn't pick up the exact question. Could you please repeat that again, please?
Yeah, I just said that how to have a strike balance to need for the house that we need to give for our people in the developing countries and still make less emission. And yeah, so how to have a strike balance? Of course, you have answered. That's why I told that my question was taken by the chair, so it's fine.
Sorry, I'm still struggling to get that. Could you?
I think he's saying that you have answered the question already.
I've already answered the question. Okay, that's
so yeah, we can move to the second question.
So, sorry, thank you.
Yes, regarding the AI, actually, as my colleagues mentioned, the AI is something we have at the moment, and we need really to take it serious. The AI can help in different ways. It can help us to adapt the climate change and also mitigate the climate change in different aspects. Some of these aspects could be to support the energy use and also the consumption, plus also it could help us to deliver the right amount of energy, because when you distribute the energy, there are a lot of losses as well. So the AI could control the distribution of the energy, and also controls that. And a different way is AI could use different sort of sensors to control the climate, the air quality, for example, control the traffic, and also to monitor how much CO2 we are emitting in a certain area. That could probably, one of the projects we are doing with one of our PhD students is to take Ajman as a city that we can control using AI, control their traffic, and see how much gases are emitting, during the day. And when there is an alert to say that in this time, this type of gas or this type of pollution is getting more than the border, then we can stop some of the traffic and control it in order to maintain the right power, emission, to protect the city, from having excessive gases and so on. So in general, AI could help us in education. The most important part in education is how we, educate ourselves as tutors before we educate our students. Because our students now, they hold technology, is very friendly with AI, okay? If we don't have the right information, we cannot really approach our students. And also we need to learn what's their style of learning. And that's through communicating with data that we collect from the students, and then we use machine learning in order to facilitate these data, and then deep learning, and get some good decisions. So that's, AI is something really needs to be highlighted and used in every sector of our life.
I think we still need to answer two questions, right? And may I ask the honorable speakers to just make it short answers, please? And I'm sorry, we don't have any time. We don't have time for any more questions.
Hello? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Excuse me, could you please repeat your question? I couldn't hear it very well.
Well, can we move to the last to the last question, if it was clear?
Excuse me. Excuse me, can I ask a small question to Professor Abdel?
We still didn't answer the last question.
Yes,
I'm not sure. I would like to ask you to repeat the question. I'm sorry, I couldn't get it.
Yeah,
Sorry for that.
So okay, since we already answered one question at least, okay, we can have one more question. That will be.
Professor Abdel, I just want to ask you. You were talking about large wind turbines. I would like to know if these large wind turbines affect the migratory birds in any way?
Very good question. Actually, there are so many issues that's been highlighted against the wind turbines, and one of them is the safety of our birds. Yes, I agree with you. If we have the wind turbines installed in onshore near the buildings and everywhere, that will create so many problems. I am against those wind turbines, although I have been involved in the first design of those turbines. But now we are going offshore. And offshore, especially we're going deeply offshore, where the water is very deep, and then we are using floating wind turbines. And deep water, we are aware of all these issues, no birds in that area, okay? And also, you get the ability to build very huge size of wind turbines. Now, there are some solutions, for this onshore, there are solutions for birds' safety. There are some radars, like, if you go to the airport, each airport, they got some special radars that produces ultrasonic, rays, and those push the birds away from. So they are using them on these onshore wind turbines, and helps a lot getting rid of these, birds, redirected them to another direction. So this issue is being nearly dealt with.
Well, we come to the end of the session. Thank you very much for listening, and special thanks to our honorable speakers. We will have a coffee break now.